Hello everyone. Here I have a Kross Gy926 speaker that's not working. It turns on and has power, and the microphone works, but nothing else seems to be working. I try Bluetooth here on my phone. It connects, but it has no sound whatsoever, whether I use the ports on the back or not. So I'm going to have to open up this machine and have a look inside and see what's going on with it. So just using a star screwdriver, you can remove all the screws, and then you can carefully just pull out all the internals to have a look at the electronics inside the machine. So here's the heat sink, and the bottom PCB is the amplifier. So at first I thought, it's probably the amplifier. Check out those MOSFETs. So it's on continuity mode, and the bottom row are a series of power MOSFETs, and I figured that's probably a good place to start. So make sure that there's no short. I went through them all, and I also checked some diodes and stuff there, but the amp was working because the mic is working. So I thought maybe it's a problem with the the processor. So there's this black processor there. It also is inserted there, so it could be a bad connection. So I just carefully taking that processor out and then putting it in. But as right here, you can see I'm testing it, and I'm getting sound. So the amp PCB is working. So I figured it's this chip here. This is this little chip. It takes all the channels and it determines what channel also determines the volume. So it's an encoder chip. I thought it's probably that chip, because I can insert the audio past that chip and it does amplify. Here's the schematic. The first and second pin are ground, and the other important ones are the SD I2C line. So here's the chip I got. I thought it was a bad chip, so I ordered it on eBay and got it, and I'm going to remove this chip. I put some flux using my heating gun, heating that up, and then I can take it out. And I was able to successfully remove this chip and install the new one, but in fact this was not the issue at all. Also, if you're measuring the voltage on this chip, pins 1 and 2 are VCC and ground. They should measure 8 volts. The last pin 28, is reference, and that's half of VCC, which is 4 volts. And 27 and 26 are the I2C lines. And the issue is actually the I2C lines. It's not this chip at all. So I'm just soldering up this chip, putting in the new one on, because I figured I knew it was some issue regarding this, because I measured the voltage around the processor, and that seemed to be okay. It was also sending signal on the I2C line, but I didn't know that there was some interference on the I2C line. I was able to use a scope, but it was the problem with the capacitors in parallel. So what I did was I used my Arduino, and I disconnected that with as the processor to this chip right here that I replaced to isolate the issue. So I uploaded this sketch as the PT2314, which is that encoder chip there on the board, and to bypass the processor, I'm using Arduino. So I uploaded that sketch, and the best way to test this out is using the I2C sketch there. So I put the SDA line and onto the I2C and a common ground. So I have that all connected, and then I'm just using my Arduino to bypass that CPU. So I uploaded that. It still didn't work, and I used the I2C sketch to scan if I could to see that chip on the I2C line, and it wasn't working. But then later, after I removed the capacitors on the I2C line, it was able to find it, and the hex address is 0.44. Those are the two little capacitors on the I2C line. I just cut them off. So if you just cut them off, one of them was shorted, and you really actually don't need those capacitors. It just makes some more reliability, but it'll work perfectly fine without them. And there, after that, it was able to find the hex address of 044, and I just have to put it back together, and everything is working well. So it took me a while to figure this out. I also invented a little audio probe. You can see that the volume's working. So I was able to make an audio probe from a PC speaker. You can also check my channel for that video as well. And I'm pretty happy about this. It took a while to figure that out, but here we go. So here's your speaker back in working condition. If this video was helpful, please hit the like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video.